he wasn't a leader of the opposition. He was a prime minister of Israel for 2 years already. So it wasn't the fact that he became a prime minister and he saw the whole world differently. We tried to ask him at the Defense and Foreign Affairs Committee, after he decided about the disengagement, Yossi Sarid from the left and myself asked him the same question. Just tell us what happened. What changed your mind? What is different in the world now than it was 6 months ago when you came to us and told us not an inch? He never answered.
Was it the Greek island affair?
I believe so. I don't have any other explanation. And that's by elimination. It's not a very strong evidence, but I don't have any other. And nobody proved that there was a real conviction that he saw that the pressure from the world is such that he must withdraw from Gaza.
You had a question.
Introduce yourself. Yeah.
Me, my name is Monique Schwartz.
Let's speak up.
My name is Monique Schwartz, and my question is, you said a minute ago about we need to invest in the Arabs, meaning we're hoping for the Arabs to provide the miracle that we need at this point. Do you see that the Arabs might, on this occasion, behave differently to how they behaved before and actually go along with this whole process?
I don't think so. I'm afraid.
What danger is there that might?
I am afraid that one day they will become more clever and will be ready to sign another piece of paper that will give Netanyahu a chance to create a Palestinian state. Right now, I think the most difficult problem for Abu Mazen is that he doesn't have a mandate from his own people. He doesn't have a majority among the Palestinians west of the Jordan River. Toda Rabah. If he would be going to election, he's really with no justification of his rule for the last 3 years or so. His term was passed long ago. If he would go now to election, my best knowledge is Hamas will win in Judea and Samaria as well, not only in Gaza. So he doesn't really have a permission from his own people to accept the demands of Israel, end of conflict, recognize Israel as a Jewish state. And I hope he won't be too courageous and sign an agreement, because that might be the end of his life, which I couldn't care less, but it would give Netanyahu an excuse to sign.
Jeff Dalby, please.
Jeff Dalby, Aryeh, if you were Prime Minister, would you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, are you listening? Would you take a more incrementalist approach as far as Har HaBayit is concerned? In other words, would you start slowly with allowing Jews to pray there silently, or would you go whole hog immediately, put up a flag there, allow for a full assertion of our sovereignty and our rights?
I had a bill which didn't pass through that suggested arrangements in Temple Mount. We copied the arrangement of the Cave of the Patriarchs in Hebron. That there will be days that Jews will be allowed to pray only about 10 days a year. There will be days that only Muslims will be allowed, like Ramadan if you wish, and all other days of the week. Some days will be for Jews, some hours will be only for Jews on Temple Mount, some hours will be only for Muslims on Temple Mount. You can share time sharing of Temple Mount, allowing everyone who wants to worship there to do it. I think the step after that would to use it. For example, the structure of Golden Gate, the Pitti Gate, the blocked gate at the east, as a synagogue. We are entitled to have a synagogue over Temple Mount. And only when we start speaking about it was that the Muslims put a sign, this is a madrasa. I visited there several times. It was open, abandoned, neglected kind of storage. It was nothing. Still, it's only locked and the sign is on. But if we'll wait long time, or if we'll wait enough time, they will create a religious school there, and it will be more difficult to take them out from here. But this is a kind of steps that we need, and it doesn't take a prime minister to do it.
Please.
Whatever happens to the legal report
Speak, please.
seems to have been buried. And it could help, I think, if they do have negotiations, is to come out and say these are legal.
If it was buried, we would visit him once a year.
What was buried, please?
Levy report, Edmund Levy. Excellent report. As far as I remember, it was the Prime Minister of Israel that ordered this report. His name at the time was Netanyahu, and he got the report. If he would bury him, we would visit him every Yortzeit. Now it's in a closet. Nobody can visit him.
Please, you had a question over here? Okay, no problem. Someone, Barry, Bavakasha?
I don't understand why you haven't addressed why they don't recognize evil and call it out. For instance, Obama's a lawyer, and he should be called a shyster who doesn't know his law, because the law is very clear, as you made, and Hertz, Ellie Hertz, and many others have done. And the problem is that we insult the people who claim that they're liberals and progressive and want good values, but they don't recognize evil that attacks all those values. So it's a value-based argument that I don't understand why we can't make it and embarrass the people who've been leaders, like Netanyahu, all the way back, that when Abbas says that our state must be Judenrein, they should say, this is no partner. This is going against all of your liberal values that you want us to sacrifice our lives to.
I will take one point from your question and try to explain, because it's more complicated sometimes than we think. Why don't we, or why don't Likud, going out, throw Netanyahu, and replace him with a right-wing leader? That's the issue, because Netanyahu is no longer a right-wing leader. He adopted the plan of Peace Now and the argument. The trauma that Likud once suffered was with the fact that the right undermined Yitzhak Shamir, and after him came Rabin and Peres and the Oslo Agreement. So they took an oath. Likud will never put down a prime minister from the Likud. It doesn't matter whether he was baptized, whether he became a Muslim. As long as he is from Likud, he's the holy of the holies.
It's insane.
I agree. But I'm a plastic surgeon, not a psychiatrist.
I'm sure I speak for all of us. It's terribly inspiring it is to listen to you, and to listen to really the truth. I'm among many who have been following your career and your eloquent representation of the true interests of Israel. And what you say about the prime ministers shifting, including Netanyahu and Begin and so forth, undoubtedly is true. My question is, though, how do we stand up as a society, as a people, as a nation, in the world of real politics, the pressures and so on? And this is really a hasbara kind of question. There are many wonderful organizations doing hasbara on behalf of Israel, but we're not reaching out as effectively as we should. And I think this is where a good part of the problem is. In other words, if you look at what the European community has done with respect to so-called West Bank products and so on, and they get away with it. And Catherine Ashton goes wandering around the world, speaking about how terrible Israel is. You speak about the wall that's preventing, the Palestinians from exercising their democratic rights and so on. How do we deal with the hasbara
I've heard Netanyahu once in the Defense and Foreign Affairs Committee tells us that the budget for Israel Hasbara is smaller than the budget for PR of Israel Coca-Cola, of advertising. Yes,
That's right.
And he said it as the leader of the opposition, because he was a member of this committee. When he became a prime minister, the budget for Hasbara got smaller.
I would like you to explain to us, please, San Ramon, 1929.
How much time you have?
21.
29, there was another issue. I will recommend, it's too long, and basically it's very simple. The decision was to grant Britain a mandate over Palestine on the guidelines of the Balfour Declaration. We adopt the Balfour, the League of Nations, adopt the principles of the Balfour Declaration, and we grant Britain a mandate over Palestine to implement it. Eli Hertz wrote a wonderful essay. You can find it on the web, and if you write to him, he will send you the brochure in Hebrew or in English with the maps, with all the explanation, with the citations.
Is it legal?
Yes, certainly. That's the only legal document. I mean, this is the only valid legal document on the land of Israel, not the Sykes-Picot, not the November 29, 1947, because that was not a decision, that was a resolution recommending both sides to take upon themselves creation of two states once the Arabs didn't accept it. It's not a UN decision. The only decision on this issue, on the territorial issue, is based, or should be based, on the San Remo Declaration.
Thank you.
If our agency can help, our website, which is IsraelBehindTheNews.com, which is working together with the Winston Israel Insight website, we have all these documents here, easily accessible, and please take our card at the end of the event. It helps you, it can give you the heartache to see how much is there and how much is not known to the general public. Young lady, please.
Okay, Shalom Zirin. I have like 2 or 3 questions.
Speak up, please, and stand up, please. Thank you.
First of all, one of the things that you said tonight was real news to me, what Begin did in June '67. Because I was going to ask you how come they let Dayan get away with what he did. Now I have the answer. The second, but connected with that, now what's happened now, that until after the festival of Eid or something like that, which covers Rosh Chodesh Elul, no Jews will be allowed to go on the Temple Mount clock, because everybody's worried. Now, we shouldn't be afraid of ourselves. I agree with you, but isn't there a remote possibility that there will really be something terrible if we all went up to the Temple Mount?
Yes, there is. Even more than a remote possibility, but I can recall what the Supreme Court in Israel wrote in his decision when, like today, the gay parade in Jerusalem was threatened by the Orthodox to be attacked by masses of religious Jews that couldn't tolerate such a parade. And the police came to the Supreme Court explaining why they didn't allow the parade to take place. And the Supreme Court told them, this is the right of the people to demonstrate their feelings. Your job is to secure them. If you need, bring 5,000 policemen to Jerusalem and protect the gays from the Orthodox. If there is a need to protect the right of freedom of worship of Jews on Temple Mount, police should bring 5,000 policemen. Don't allow the Arabs go on Temple Mount on that hour, on that day. Allow the Jews to pray. They can go out, the Arabs can go in. Police know how to control riots. That their job. but they don't have orders from the Prime Minister. I had a very sad opportunity to read some of the findings of the state controller about the archaeological excavations in Temple Mount. Everyone says, we wanted to do our job. The government didn't allow us. So it's only a decision of the government. And I'm sure that if Jews and Arabs will be allowed there for the first time to pray at the same time without a strong police power at Temple Mount, that can end up very badly in a bloodshed. But we can prevent it. We can implement the arrangements of the caves of the patriarchs on Temple Mount.
Toby, would you like that last question?
Well, I really wanted to comment on something you sort of spoke about, but not intensively. Gush Katif had a vote before. The vote was on the budget. If the budget had been defeated, the government would have fallen before Gush Katif could be abandoned. Now, if this budget could be defeated, there could be no government and we go to new elections. What chance is there for defeating this budget so that
It's done.
Why is it too late?
It's been voted on.
We had always the arrangements bill, this bill. Why can't it be too late?
It's over.
The government can be put down either by an inconfident vote, or no confident vote, or if the budget is not approved by a certain date. It was approved.
That's, but they haven't approved all aspects, obviously, and that could be defeated.
We can change items of the budget, but that will not put the government down.
I'd just like to express a word of gratitude to Aryeh. Some of you may know that I and my organization are extremely involved in the sister mountain to Harabayit, Har Zaitim. There are 150,000 Jews there that cannot vote for Aryeh Eldad. He, during his previous tenure, was extremely involved in protecting the security and the integrity of that mountain, and everybody who would like to visit it. There was no political investment or gain to be made from something like that. He was always up there with Mikhail Ben Ari, and I would just like to publicly thank him on behalf of my 150,000 constituents.
Thank you again, and of course, our friend Manny Winston, Emmanuel Winston, is buried on Har Zaitim, and he adds his thank you. Thank you, Father. My introduction to your father, Aryeh, I came here 43 years ago this week, and I met your father almost practically my first day here in Israel, not quite knowing who he was and the great man he was, and the Lechi, the Stern Group, and he said to me, it takes one man to stand up in order to be counted in Israel. And I just have to add one very funny thing. He mentioned one of the great poets of Israel, Tzvi Greenberg, and I had the pleasure of sitting on a taxi in between these two fellows, Tzvi Greenberg and Aryeh Eldad and Yisrael Eldad. They started yelling at each other in Vrit, and I said, would you please scream in easy Hebrew? I thank again the heroism that Emmanuel Winston represented, the heroism that Gail continues in his legacy, and the straightforward nature of Dr. Professor Aryeh Eldad, who is in the world of medicine, the world of politics and diplomacy. One day we will see a return to power of these people because integrity speaks for itself. People would like to help us prepare future programs, to sponsor our movie, and to get the word out. To get the word out, we have a challenge ahead of us.